Welcome back, explorers. Brian here, and today we return to the quiet, peaceful, slow-paced Republic of India. Wait a minute, this doesn't seem like it's quiet, peaceful, or slow-paced at all. I thought we learned in a previous lesson that most people here were rural farmers. Well, today we're leaving the countryside and exploring some of the most densely populated cities in the world. By the end of the video, you'll be able to describe India's urban culture, identify India's major economic industries, and explain some of the challenges that the people of India face in the 21st century. Are you ready? Let's get moving! This is the bustling metropolis of Mumbai, home to about 20 million people. So, how did India get from here to here? Well, that takes us back to the height of the British Empire. Queen Victoria colonized India in the 1850s because it was a land that had many workers and resources in demand around the world, especially cotton. During a century of colonial rule, British investors worked to industrialize India by building schools to promote the English language and railroads for transportation. British influence favored extracting raw materials like salt and cotton, while mass production in British factories destroyed small cottage industry manufacturing of products like textiles. This led to unemployment and poverty across India, especially in rural areas, which we can still see today. Since there was no longer a market for textiles that could be made by rural workers, how do you think that influenced internal migration? Pause the video here and write down your response in the lesson viewing guide. If you said that many rural Indians likely moved to cities looking for work, you're spot on! Unemployed textile workers and other Indians hoping for opportunity moved to cities looking for work. This began a process of urbanization in which a growing percentage of people lived in cities instead of rural areas. Hundreds of larger towns have sprung up all across the country. In some, with populations under 100,000 people, life is a little faster paced than in the countryside. Buses and pedestrians often share the streets, and you might even spot an elephant from time to time. But India's biggest cities are on a whole other level. Here in Mumbai, the population density is almost unfathomable. In rural areas like those we visited in our last lesson, there are around 400 people per square kilometer. In Mumbai as a whole, that figure is closer to 21,000 people per square kilometer, which is about 50 times as densely populated. But here, in the Dharavi slum, a very poor, very tightly packed quarter of the city, there are an estimated 336,000 people per square kilometer, making it potentially the most crowded living space in the world. What kind of problems do you think people living in such a densely packed area might face on a daily basis? Pause the video and jot down some ideas. India is home to 5 megacities with more than 10 million residents each, and 2 more cities are expected to reach mega status by 2030. By comparison, the U.S. has only 2 megacities, New York and LA. To connect these population centers, a major highway network called the Golden Quadrilateral has been built. How do you think construction of major highways influence where people want to live? Pause the video here to write a response in your lesson viewing guide. This network fuels more urbanization because people are less likely to stop in small towns and spend money. Again, industrialization has made it easier to travel to cities and harder to live in rural areas. Since gaining independence in 1947, India's population has grown from 340 million to 1.38 billion. That's over 4 times the number of people living in the U.S. By as early as 2026, India may surpass China as the most populous country on Earth. And with all that growth, a larger percentage of the population is living in cities. According to India's 2011 census, the proportion of people living in cities has tripled since 1901. Can you think of some reasons why more and more people would move to cities? Pause here to brainstorm and write a few ideas in your lesson viewing guide. That's right, there's more stuff in cities. They have infrastructure like better roads and airports, cell towers, Wi-Fi, reliable electricity, and running water. It's easier to access government services, and of course, there's more economic opportunity. More people means more customers and more opportunities to find a job. Millions of people move to cities looking for work, and they found it. India is a popular country for companies to look to as they outsource jobs in sales, customer service, and IT support. Skyscrapers and major roadways have been wedged in alongside ancient temples and mosques. Economic industries. In the last 50 years, new technology has brought new jobs, like India's space research industry. With its Chandrayaan-3 mission, India hopes to be the fourth nation to put a spacecraft on the moon, behind the US, Russia, and China. India is also a world leader in the computer industry, generating over $190 billion in revenue from information technology, software development, and other computer services each year. Now, if you're interested in the arts, India's most well-known industry is its film industry, nicknamed Bollywood. India produces more than 800 feature-length films every year, which far surpasses Hollywood in the US, making it the largest film industry in the world. Like American films, Indian movies often feature romance, action, and famous celebrities. But Indian films are much more likely to feature singing and dancing, and many of them have a runtime of over 4 hours. As if billions of people wasn't enough, India's tourism industry brings in another 18 million visitors and generates even more income than its computer industry at $220 billion each year. India's most famous tourist destinations include the Taj Mahal in Agra. This is the mausoleum of a Mughal emperor's wife. The holy city of Varanasi on the Ganges River is a destination where Hindus travel to pray. The Golden Temple attracts followers of Sikhism. The Red Fort is a beautiful palace once home to Mughal emperors. And the Kapalishwarar Temple is a temple dedicated to Shiva, Hindu god of destruction. But you don't have to be Hindu to want to come and appreciate its beautiful architecture in person. Unfortunately, many of these sites are located within large cities, and tourism worsens congestion and traffic. So, India's Ministry of Tourism is trying very hard to promote ecotourism, cruise lines, and visiting rural villages. Can you think of any problems this approach might solve for rural business owners? Take a second to jot down a response in your lesson viewing guide. If you said that sending tourists to small towns might help local businesses and slow down urbanization, you're right on track. 21st-century challenges. Despite the explosion of industry in India in the last 100 years, such a high population density comes with some 21st-century challenges. As we saw in Dharavi slums, pollution and access to clean water are challenges, as is the spread of disease. Many rural villages still lack access to electricity, running water, and schooling. And for schools that do exist, there is a debate about what to prioritize. Some Indians question whether teaching the English language and computer skills are best for India's future. And although India is one of the world's most popular countries for medical tourism, widespread poverty makes it difficult for many Indians to receive basic medical care. Of course, in a rapidly changing climate, any population center faces the daunting task of reducing carbon emissions and plastic waste. India's government has made progress on many of these issues. Electricity has been provided to many rural villages, spreading the influence of Bollywood and major television networks. Many schools have been built, and work is being done to improve the quality of drinking water. But a lot of work still remains. Only time will tell whether the world's largest democracy will be able to meet the demands of an evolving world. What do you think is in store for India in the coming decades? That's it for today. Until next time, keep exploring.